guys, it's Tom with Mount Laurel Woodworks, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of the bigger questions we get asked about at craft fairs, and that is, how do I take care of my product now that I bought it from you guys? Now, most of you know that a lot of the products we make are centered around food and food consumption, like this cutting board or a nice wooden bowl. And obviously when you buy something like that, it's important to take care of it, not just to make sure that you ensure the longevity of the product that you bought, but also make sure that the product that you bought, that you're serving food off of, is safe for yourself and others to consume. So today's video is going to be kind of split up into two different sections. The first section, we're going to take this well-loved and well-used cutting board that Jen and I got for a wedding gift several years ago, and we're going to recondition it and kind of bring it back to life. I'm sure everybody at home has a wooden cutting board that they've loved for years and years that's just looking rough and needs a little life brought back into it. So we're going to show you how we go about doing that out in the shop. The second part of that, which we're going to go ahead and do right now, is to create what we call bowl butter. So our bowl butter is a non-toxic, non-petroleum based, food-safe wood conditioner. And it's really just made up of two different items. It's got beeswax in it, and it's got walnut oil. So we're going to start mixing up this batch today for you guys. The first step is we need 4 big cups of all natural organic beeswax pellets. We're going to put these in our, for shop use only, crock pot. There's 2. There's 3. Here's 4. 4 cups of this is basically a pound. Now the important role that wax plays is that it's going to offer a barrier and offer some protection to the wood itself. Just like kind of wax does on a car, it's going to prevent water from seeping down into the pores. So now that we're preventing stuff from getting in it, how do we take care of the wood fibers itself? And that's the role that walnut oil plays in it. Now walnut oil is going to soak down into the wood. It's going to condition and keep those wood fibers nice and safe. So we need 64 ounces of this walnut oil. Put that up. Jen back here doing my math for me. How many cups is 64 ounces? 2. 3. Alright, so we're going to let this stuff cook in here in our crock pot and put a time lapse on that, I guess, while we're doing that. Meanwhile, while this is cooking up and melting everything down, we're going to go ahead and go outside and start to rework the cutting board out in the shop. Alright guys, back out here in the shop now, and like we said when we were in the house, when we started making that bowl butter, we're going to show you the steps to properly refinishing essentially your cutting board and bringing it back to life. So there's 2 ways that you can do this. One of these ways is really accessible to just about anybody. All you really need is a sander and a bunch of sandpaper to get to it, and obviously a lot of time. The other way is if you've got some deep divots, maybe you've got some warping and stuff like that in your cutting board, you probably need to go to something like a planer, which I'm going to show that as well. But we're going to start with sandpaper. I have just a plain old Craftsman, got this at Lowe's, random orbital sander, and that's what I'm going to start with. I got 80 grit sandpaper on here. That's what we're going to start with. This is really good for, like I said, thin scratches, maybe some small knife marks that don't go that deep in the board. I'm going to use it on the back side of this board because the maker of this board had signed his name on it, and I don't want to run that through the planer and lose that. So I'm going to go at it a little bit gentler with the random orbital sander. So, all right, we're going to speed through this.
Alright, so that was our first grit of 80 grit. Now, if that was all we were doing to this board, obviously you want to proceed up through the grits from the 80 to a 100, 120, then up to like a 220, 320, and even 400, just as far as you want to go. I like things that feel really nice and smooth, so I'll probably end up on like a 320 or something like that. During the video, you probably saw me switch. I just went from one 80 grit sandpaper disc to another one. The reason for that is there is some finish left in here, some wax and various things left in this board, and it clogged up that sandpaper really easy. So when you see it not pulling as well, or you see a lot of sawdust or any swirl marks on your board, you want to switch to another sanding disc to get you going there. So the second way is to, we're going to do this on this top side, is to run it through a planer. So I'm real lucky, I have just a normal everyday planer here. Again, picked this one up at Lowe's several years ago. Not everybody has one of these, so that's why I didn't want to show it right off the bat. But if you have one, know somebody that does, and you've got a board with some pretty big problems, contact them. This is a way to get through those really, really easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this on its lowest speed. I've got it hooked up to a dust collector, so it's pulling that dust out. And we're just going to go real easy, real light passes until we get all of those scratch marks out. So we're going to head over to that. It's real loud, so Jen, I'm sure, is probably going to put this on a fast forward to jump through the video and the loudness real quick for you guys. So here we go. Okay, we finished up with the planing. It just took 2 or 3 passes to get through the little bit of knife marks that were in this particular board. Now the downside to having a plane or replane a cutting board like this is that you're going to have to refinish all the edges here. So this maker had used what's called a chamfer, basically just a 45-degree cut on the edge of the boards. It's one that I actually like and use myself. So I got my palm router here. We're going to re-chamfer both the top and bottom edge. Even though we didn't plane that bottom edge, we still want it to match. And then we'll come back. Our next step is one that's very familiar because we already did it on the back side of the board, and that is to sand the top edge that we ran through the planer back to 80 grit. Once we finish with the 80 grit, we're going to hit both top and bottom with a 120. We're going to hit top and bottom again with a 220, top and bottom again with a probably 400, and then we'll be finished there. So we're going to do a little sanding montage here, and then we'll be ready to go back inside where the air conditioner is. Step. This is called a grain pop. Basically, when we're sanding things, we're getting all the grains of wood lined out in one direction. We want to stand those grains of wood up a little bit and then go back to our last couple of grits. To do that, I'm going to use some acetones, basically some alcohol, wipe it on, let it dry, which since it's alcohol, it won't take very long. I'll do that, flip the board over, do the same thing on the other side, and then go back to a 220 and then the 320 that we used to finish it off. So here we go. Alright guys, we're back inside in the AC. It's really hot here in Eastern Kentucky today. Glad to be back inside. So obviously we don't mix up a whole batch of this bowl butter just to redo one board. So got laid out here all of our nice pretty mint green tins that Jen bought us that'll be available for sale on our Etsy page.
and at any craft shows you see us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pour what we made here into the tins, and then we'll come back to the cutting board with one that I did a little bit earlier. And as of note, I don't know if you guys saw this on the time lapse or not, but my measurements were off just a little bit. It was actually 2 pounds of the all natural beeswax to the 64 ounces of walnut oil. And I also add a couple tablespoons of vitamin E into every batch that I make, and just a little bit of all natural lemon scent as well. Lemon scent obviously because it smells good, and the vitamin E because it feels really good on our hands. And that's really the best way to apply this, is just on your hands or with a paper towel or something like that. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to just use a scoop here, put about 4 ounces in each tin, and then we'll come back with our cutting board. Alright guys, as promised, we're going to go ahead and recondition our board that's been freshly refinished. So when you buy a tin of this, whether it's a green tin or you get one of these little sample tins, the product in here is hard. That's the way it's supposed to be. You can either use your fingers and scoop some of that out, or grab a paper towel and scoop some of that out. What I'm going to do is take the remnants from us pouring that a little bit ago and scoop it out onto a paper towel here. The last little bit on the outside, and then just slowly work that in like you would wax in a car. Go. Be liberal with the amount that you use. Again, trying to work everything down in the wood fibers the best that you can. Get all that oil down in there, get as much of the wax in there as you can to fill them pores. Let it sit on there. Go ahead and hit every side. Front, corner, sides, back, top, the whole thing. Okay, once you get your board all covered, go ahead and get you a clean paper towel or whatever it may be and buff it. Again, this is wax. It's just like wax in a car. You put all that on, you want to wipe as much of it back off, or wipe all that excess back off, I guess is what I should say. I like to push them right to the edge there so you can really get that end cleaned up. This step does involve a little bit of elbow grease, but it's worth it in the end, because this is the best thing you can do to protect your wood. Make sure everything stays good and safe for your family. Alright, that should do it for that step. So what I usually like to do is just let them sit up on edge, let them dry real good overnight, and come back with a nice clean towel the next morning and clean it off. So that should do it with this video, showing you guys how to recondition and rework a board that had been pretty abused. I'd say it looks pretty good, back to kind of its old glory, and Mr. Stradler, I'm sure, would be proud to see it back and functioning good. So again, Bowl Butter is available on our Etsy store and available in person. The little gold tins that you saw me fill, we usually run specials with these. So if you buy, some products, we'll give you one of these for free. Whatever you use, whether it's our stuff or somebody else's stuff, make sure you use it, follow their instructions, and you should be able to keep your wood products around for a lifetime. With that, we'll see you next time.